Hey, everybody, welcome to another edition of Falcons Corner, voice of the Falcons, Mike Rickard. My co-host, the good guy to know, Danny Berg. We are actually zooming in today from our work offices, for the convenience of everyone's sake. We're just a Zoom call show today.
Yeah, it's good. We like to change it up. We're always last week we were at the baseball field virtually, right? So now this week we can go here and people could see our home away from home.
I guess so. And then we don't want you crawling up and down stairs because you got a little lower leg injury, right? So you're in a little bit of a boot. So we're taking care of you too. We want to make sure that you're okay.
Yeah, it's a little trip and fall, but booted up. And I was telling one of my friends I have the old there's a pump on the front. You pump it like the old Reebok pump.
You go a little D Brown blindfold down.
When I was putting it on yesterday, I was having these flashbacks to sixth grade basketball. My parents bought me the pumps. I was like, so all last night I kept pumping up and hitting the air release.
I never had a pair of Reebok pumps. I wasn't rich enough when I was growing up.
That was my one and only Christmas present in sixth grade, I think.
But since we're talking Reebok pumps, let's talk basketball then, right? So we've had a pretty good past couple of days. So let's start with our men because they're on a little bit of a streak.
Yeah, the men they had a lot of games last week. They had a bit of a tough go of it. I think since we had filmed last, they played Garrett College.
Garrett, right? Nationally ranked Garrett College. So they hung tough with them a little bit early on, but Garrett pulled away. Late in the second half on them.
And they're every bit of their 11th in the country, if not higher. That was on Wednesday, but they rebounded the very next day, and Union County College at home, we picked up a W. It was pretty impressive to come off 24 hours the night before. And then on Saturday they got another win, which I'm sure you can kind of further discuss.
Yeah, a close game, especially it was at Union. So we've always talked about our women playing at Union and, our men playing at Union. They play in the same floor. So not the easiest place to play. I gave the guys a little bit of a warning when I had them in the weight room the day before. Say, hey, it's a little small there, but they said they were up to the challenge. It looks they were. They pulled out a 3-point victory, game winner at the buzzer. Jalen Cassidy's only bucket of the game, 3-pointer. Perfect timing on his part.
Just goes to show you gotta play all the way through, right? Like you said, his only points of the game, and they were the most important ones to get them away with another win. So I mean they're coming along. We keep saying that it's how you finish, it's not how you start.
And it was a nice reach of 19 wins, and then but they got a tough stretch coming up. They got 3 games coming up. Thursday, Saturday, Sunday with a back-to-back against Harcum. Away there, back here on Saturday with them, and then back to Garrett. With that tough nationally ranked Garrett team. So, a tough stretch for them, but, definitely going to be a great learning experience for them too.
Yeah, they obviously have their work cut out for them. I was talking to Coach Gabriel as, we're playing the teams that we can play. And right. I'll tell you what, though, they'll be battle tested when it comes time for the playoffs.
Exactly.
Harcum's a Division I, Garrett's not in region, but they are in our district. So we might have to see them again. So, really, you're getting an experience to see the team play, make adjustments. And I think it'll be different when they play Garrett this time. They'll have practices under their belt. They had one practice over the course of those 3 games last week. So, they're going to be changing things up.
Yeah, make a game plan a little bit and stuff for them too. So let's hop over to women, not to bring up a sore subject, but, the women with the tough loss, their first loss of the year at Union, which is always a tough place to play. I really think for my entirety here at Lackawanna College, I think I only remember maybe one women's basketball victory at Union. So, as much as, we want them to win down there, it is a tough place to play, but rebounded nicely, with some home cooking here on regulation size court. With a big victory on Saturday. So, kudos to our women.
It's tough, just the atmosphere, and we know that. So, that's to their advantage, their psyche of knowing that it's tough to go in and play. But here it's wide open. It's even especially with no fans to get that motivated and post I think it was a 15-point win, wasn't it?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
That's, and you're playing those same teams with only one day in between. So it's setting up, I think, nicely for some postseason championship basketball between the 2 teams. And this week coming up, the women have Harcum again, and they've been a rival of Lackawanna College for the last 15 years, ups and downs and, peaks and valleys, but you have to play them tough They're going to be gritty, and not to mention they have to go there. And the gyms are tight. I mean,
they are.
There's
Yeah,
not a lot of space.
Yep. So it'll be an interesting stretch for both our men's and women's basketball teams. So best of luck to them the next couple of days. But I'm sure they'll be fine. They're in good hands with their coaching staff.
They'll be fine.
Let's stay on the trend of talking. Winter sports. Had 2 wrestling matches here, Friday and Sunday. Tri match on Friday night, right? And then Sunday, you're our in-house wrestling guru. So especially the amateur wrestling side. We'll let you talk a little bit about what you noticed from Coach Fox and his wrestlers.
Yeah, well, the professional wrestling, all my friends, they're big on that. So
I'm an old school professional wrestler.
And I'll tell you, especially this facility, watching all those guys. But we're fortunate to have wrestling finally open up their season. And like you said, we had a tri match on Friday, but it's like a non-traditional tri match. So some of the teams, including us, didn't have certain weight classes to fill. So very grateful to the coaching staff at Niagara and at Garrett, working with Coach Fox, and we tiered it out so that we didn't follow a traditional format of competing against one and the other, but rather 125-pound matches, and then we went to 141-pound matches, and then up to 197, then back down to 125, so that there was enough rest. So everybody that competed had 2 legitimate matches on the day, which was great, and it allowed everybody to compete at their weight class against somebody else. And
Danny, I think one important thing about Friday night especially is no one talked to me. I know it's not always about me and the voice, but no one talked to me and prepared me to announce 35 matches on a Friday starting at 4:00. I was tired. I was hungry. I was thirsty. I had to go out to my car. I had some leftover smidgens from Christmas time that I have hidden as emergency food. I had to have a smidgen to hold me over the rest of the day. So it was a long night, but I was thrilled, for our wrestlers. And really history for Lackawanna College. We got our first women's wrestler out on the mat. Trinity went out there and competed twice and really was pretty impressive competing against men.
Yeah, she did a great job. I'll tell you that, and it's the first match coming up for everybody, right? So you're not really sure where to be at. Conditioning might be a factor. So you can tell the fire in her eyes after her first match. She got pinned in the first period, but she was hungry. And, she came back for her second match, and she made it to the third period. And, they're both, Niagara's a very well-respected program, and so is Garrett. So they weren't going easy. It wasn't a matter of that. It was let's go. And to really get to be around these student athletes, because I don't get to see them as often when they're training, you could see that competitive spirit's there. And, it's great, to be making that history. And she's a local, she's a Honesdale girl, a Honesdale Hornet, and, 4 years of wrestling in high school. So it was a great opportunity for her and for the program. And they're one program. Those guys are yelling and hooting and hollering, and she's doing the same. And, it was a great atmosphere to be able to see.
Yep. And then we're going to have Kody Evans in, one of our wrestlers. We're going to talk to him in a couple seconds. He had a great week on Friday and Saturday, went for, a couple pins. So looking forward to talk to him. But let's touch real fast on our spring sports that are underway. Softball had a doubleheader split on Friday. Really hit the ball really well. Bunch of home runs, a lot of power. I can attest to that. They've been crushing it in the weight room with me. So I'm not surprised by, their power output. I'm sure Coach Pitt would have loved to get a sweep, but, starting off the season, 1-1, not too bad. And then baseball had a tough one on Sunday, with losing a doubleheader. But again, like you've talked about, they're putting runs up on the boards. So I know they'll get their pitching straightened out and they'll be all right.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, for softball, it was their season opener. They traveled 3 hours to Suffolk out on Long Island. And then, to go and even get a split, I think is impressive after that long ride. And then baseball, both of them just getting outside. Last week, Coach Pitt, Dan, can we get over to this field just so we can see some live fly balls? We've seen stuff inside, but we haven't been outside, and the weather finally cooperated, so they've played softball their whole life, but they still have to get used to seeing that ball in the air and the depth perception and all those things. So It is, and baseball, I talked with Coach McCary yesterday briefly, 40-mile-an-hour winds during their game. And he said it was just wild because it's that cold front that just came up here. That's, made it 15 degrees yesterday and possible snow today.
Yep. So, but let's take a quick little break. Let's get Kody here on the show and talk to him and continue our wrestling chat. Hey, everybody, we are back on the Falcons Corner. Joining us now, another guest. Our first visit from a wrestler, Kody Evans, joining us. Danny, welcome, Kody. Danny, you're a big wrestling guy, so welcome, Kody, to the show. I know you have a lot of wrestling questions for him.
I don't know how specific, but I do love wrestling. Kody, thanks for taking the time out of your day today to talk to us a little bit about, the season so far, what it looks like, and things like that. So I guess first and foremost, I'll start since Mr. Voice turned it over to me.
Of course.
Basically you had your first events of the season this past weekend, and we'll let Falcon Nation know that Kody went 3-0 in the 3 matches that he had. He had 2 pins over the weekend, and he won one by major decision. So, Kody, could you tell us a little bit about the matches and who you wrestled, and maybe a move or two that you did to get the pins that you did?
Well, my first match, it wasn't that easy because I'm coming off of a year without wrestling. I'm kind of out of shape because COVID kind of messed up the season a little bit. At least we would have had a lot more matches than we have right now. But the first match, it was a close one. It wasn't that easy to win. But the second one, to get my pin, I did a move which is called a lateral toss. You drop your hips and you just throw the guy, and that's pretty much what I did. And then I just stuck him on his back. And then the pin I got last night on Sunday. Oh, that's not last night. That's Monday.
You're busy with school and you're busy with wrestling, but tell us more about that pin.
The last one I got a pin called a spladle from a move called a spladle. It's not well known, but if you see it, it's funny the way it looks, especially the way the other guy is. And then I got a pin pretty quickly with that one.
Yeah, awesome.
Go ahead, Dan.
No, I was going to say it was a great way to kick off the season. Like you said, it's been about a year, and you usually have these matches. So I think starting off 3-0, and I know Coach Fox has a lot of great things to say about your ability. So you being out of shape and getting 3 pins is pretty exciting for us as fans. But I'm going to turn it over to the voice.
Yeah, Kody, talk a little bit about Coach Fox and, not wrestling last year due to COVID and, really getting a delayed start this year, how important, practices have been with Coach Fox and actually, listen to him because, everyone around here knows Coach Fox as, a true wrestling guy, and he's, very well known in the area. So talk about what a resource, Coach Fox has been, the last couple of months to get the program up and running again.
Coach Fox, when we first came up, it was hard for me. And it was hard for the team just because everyone's been out of shape because of the whole COVID situation. And he took it slow, which is good. And then he would pick it up gradually. So practices would get harder, obviously, so we can get more condition. And he kind of goes with the flow. Like, for example, after these matches, he obviously could tell that we're all not in the best shape we can be in. So he changed the practice style up to make us be better at conditioning. And then as a guy, he's a cool guy. He's a great coach. He's a great guy. Not much can be said bad about him that I know of.
I know he assigns too much social studies homework to a certain
eighth grader.
Eighth grader.
Actually, he's been eased off a lot. So I think maybe he got the message to the Falcons Corner that there's just too much homework going on for those 8th grade students.
Yeah,
so
and if that's the worst we could say about him, then that's a good thing. Kody, tell us a little bit. You mentioned COVID a couple times. How do practices look different for you, and maybe being in the fitness center and just the difference, and even while you're traveling and. Wrestling's a pretty clean sport anyway. You guys are used to all the sanitary measures, but just to give us a little bit more insight to a non-traditional sport that a lot of our viewers might not follow.
It's definitely, first to start off with the team we have this year. I think we only have 6 or 5 people, and that's because of COVID. I think Coach said we usually have around 20 to 30, which is a big difference, but honestly, it's probably better for like this type of year, because now we get like more individual like practices and stuff like that. And then in practice, it's definitely harder with mask up because it's harder to breathe. But I mean, we get used to it, obviously, but it definitely made it a little bit harder than it used to be. And then with traveling, we have to get COVID tests, I think, right before we leave. Like if we go to travel somewhere, we had to do before we left New Jersey, and I'm sure we're gonna have to when we go to Jamestown this weekend. But it's pretty. I mean, all we got to do is wear a mask, so it's not that hard. But it's just not something we're really used to right now.
Right. And you say you're not used to it, but now, I mean, you kind of are. You've already been used to having to follow all those things, where I think we, as, just most of the programs, it's one of those, well, it's not really normal, but now it is. And I know you guys have done a really good job of following the protocols. And like I said, it's a close contact sport, and we've been able to successfully have some of the matches that we were scheduled to have so far.
Yep. Awesome. Kody, thanks for joining us. Best of luck to you this weekend when you travel up to Jamestown. Make sure you stay undefeated. Don't come back with any L's, all right?
Got you. Sounds good. Thanks for having me.
All right, buddy. You got it. Be good.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. Kody Evans, Lackawanna College wrestler. We'll be right back in the Falcons Corner. Take flight.
And I won't screw
up. Hey, everybody, back on the Falcons Corner. A big thank you to Kody. A big kudos to him being undefeated on the weekend. 3 tough matches, 2 pins. I love the pins because the matches are over a lot faster. We keep them moving a little bit so the voice can get home and get his pizza, especially on a Friday night. But best of luck to wrestling because they are on the road to Jamestown, this weekend.
Yeah, heading to Jamestown, we don't have to worry about the voice getting hangry for a 3.5-hour marathon. But it was great talking with Kody, and he made a good point where he said typically we have 20 to 30 kids on the roster. He's a freshman, so he knows what it is, but he feels that right now it's better for 2 reasons that they're not. COVID, it keeps it smaller, probably a lot easier to handle. Not to mention, he said the individual attention and a little bit easier to kind of focus on things, but also having those small numbers. I know from talking to Coach Fox, their conditioning is an issue, but their season's young. It's their first match,
exactly.
But their postseason's right around the corner. And Kody wrestled some pretty darn good guys. And I think, being out at nationals the last couple of years, seeing the level of competition, you could, he's kind of has that just a little bit more, that you can see the special kids out there. Not taking anything away from the other ones, but since he was our spotlight, I think that's really important. And RJ Driscoll is a returning national qualifier who competed over the weekend and had a pretty good outing as well.
Yep, good. So let's take a quick look at the week ahead, right? So you got our women are home Thursday night at the Union. Our men are home on Saturday with Harcum. And then we got a home baseball game at Shout Stadium in Dunmore on Saturday, yes?
We do. We're hosting Monroe College out of New Rochelle, and they're coming in. And we were very fortunate to Dunmore Borough, in particular, Mike Dempsey, being able to arrange a doubleheader for us on Saturday. So we're really looking forward to getting out there. It's supposed to be nice this weekend. The home opener starts at 1 p.m. doubleheader. Good.
Awesome. So best of luck to everyone competing this weekend, and make sure any of our events here at the Union or men's and women's basketball games can be caught on the LC Fan Network. Just go to YouTube and search Lackawanna College Falcons and check out our Falcons and Lady Falcons here at the Union. So best of luck to our athletes competing this weekend. I don't want to leave out football with those guys all the time. They're still deep in the practice. They had a scrimmage this past weekend, and they're getting excited for the start of their season. It's going to happen in a couple of weeks. So we'll be turning our focus over to a little bit of football too, which is a little different for us in the spring. But, it's nothing we can't handle. So we got it.
Next man up, we roll with the punches, and Rickard really covered my butt, as you mentioned in the opening, with my trip and fall. So Rickard's he wears many hats, especially this weekend. But I'll get you some more pizza.
Yeah, I'm a team guy, Berg. So we got this covered. You're a good guy to know. I'm a team guy. So we got
Sounds it. Good.
We thank everyone. And don't forget esports. Check them out on Twitch. They're still raging hot too. So, but we thank everyone for joining in another edition of Falcons Corner. Love that we get all our views. Stay safe out there. I was a little premature on the weather. I declared it shorts weather. I'm wearing pants today, but that's okay. We're back to shorts next week. Everyone have a great week. We'll see you next week. Take flight.